A conversation I've been having with a lot of clients lately has been one about how to stay on plan while going on a trip, particularly one that's a week or longer and one that's out of the country. So I want to give you guys a few considerations since I've had clients go to Italy lately, Paraguay, one's coming up to Iceland. So it's a conversation I've been having a lot. A few considerations here. Number one, you are going on a trip to decompress, relax, escape some of the stresses of life, feel good, rejuvenate, right? So while you're there, make sure you do things that are actually contributing to that feeling. Staying up really late, drinking every day, not exercising, eating terrible food, right? Along with just the combined stressors of actual travel, time zone changes, could have you feeling really shitty when you come back. So if you're gonna go on a trip, particularly one that's out of the country, again, make sure you're doing some of the more healthy habits to make sure that you come back feeling good, that you actually accomplish the goal of the trip. One thing I challenge all my clients to do is to think about a rough game plan, particularly meal plan wise, before they go there. I know it might say, hey, we're gonna just kind of wing it. We have an Airbnb, we'll be okay. Generally, that doesn't end up working out. What I want you to need you to do is to think ahead even a little bit. Where can you create some consistency in the chaos? That's consideration number two, is creating consistency in the chaos. And that usually will come down to particularly regulating food and sleep. Training may be off. You might be in a country with no access to gyms. That's fine. If you're doing hiking, staying active, walking around, generally that'll be enough, particularly for a week or two. If you're going for longer periods of time, I would recommend trying to do some sort of lifting of weights even a couple times a week. But consistency in the chaos will come from that food and sleep regulation primarily. So when it comes to food, if you're going out of the country, you're probably going to want to experience some of the other foods, and that's okay. Try the native fruits and all this kind of good stuff. But what I recommend is trying to find at least a few consistencies in your day with food so that things like digestion aren't completely dysregulated. Energy isn't completely dysregulated, right? You don't want to, as the trip goes on, feel worse and worse and worse like a lot of people do, because while a couple of meals off was fine at the start, doing a lot of meals off every day across the week or 2 weeks can really compound negatively. And I have a lot of people when they come back and they say, by the end of the trip, I was actually looking forward to getting back on plan and I was trying to inherently find more things that made me feel good. And so if you start with that in mind, you're gonna have a more successful trip. I recommend doing things like trying to create a consistent breakfast. Usually that's something you'll have in the hotel or the Airbnb or whatever, right off the bat. Try to keep something consistent, something your stomach digests well, something that gives you good energy, consistent, clean energy, fruits and maybe some vegetables, maybe a piece of toast or Ezekiel bread, right? Then through the middle of the day, maybe bring some protein bars, or if you guys are gonna try to stop and get some sort of a lighter lunch, like a salad and chicken, maybe some fruit, right? Explore the local cuisine, but you generally know what makes you feel better, and that's, animal meats and fishes and things along those lines, and some fruits and vegetables, right? And then, most people end up going out for like a dinner in the evening, and that's where it can be a little more exploratory in nature. Even then, a couple of those at the start of the week is fine, but doing a completely just going off what looks really good every night is going to compound negatively, especially if you start adding drinks on top of that. So I'd recommend here, maybe the first couple nights you try something a little more off the beaten path, but then you get back on something that's going to be a little bit more conducive to your goals, a steak and vegetables and meats, or again, like if you're in a country that likes lamb or different types of proteins, try that, but try to keep the sources, clean and single ingredient-esque, so you kind of know how you're going to feel. You can predict how you're going to feel, right? So the two main considerations are, number one, have a plan and let that plan, give you some consistency in the chaos regarding the sleep and the stress. And you're going to be doing activities. You might stay up a little bit late. That's okay. But if you can create some consistency in the chaos, you're going to come back feeling much better and having a successful vacation and roll right into the next phase of your goals with much more success.